Okay, so welcome today. Thank you for joining us, those that are joining us live and those who are joining us afterwards to watch this recording. My name's Tracy Waldron-Pegg. I'm with the Preparing for Adulthood social work team. If you haven't heard from us, we sit within adult social care at the council, and we do overlap a little bit with children's services in that sometimes we start working with people at the age of 16, more likely as they're closer to 18, and usually through the most life-changing events where people are coming up 18, leaving school, maybe moving out of home, moving to college, or whatever else they're doing in the future. So those intensive years we're there for. Okay, so I'm just going to go through, get my presentation up and share my screen with you. Hopefully that will work. Hopefully this goes to plan. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, it's on.
Yeah, that's good.
It's on. Okay. So I've put the sort of, we were supposed to be doing with the Children's Disability team today, but due to illness, it's just us. So it's just preparing for adulthood together. It's adults and children's services working together with young people, with the students, and also parents and carers, because it is very much a partnership. We all work together. I'm just going to introduce the team. We have Kelly Kubilius, who is our lead. She's off sick at the moment, so she's not here. We've got Helen and Juliet, who work in the Northwest. We've got Sharon Johnson and Charlotte Atkin, who work in the Northeast. Anne Hampson and Joe Gerard, who work in the South. Sam and I and me, who work in sort of central Shrewsbury. And then we have Emma Banks, who's an occupational therapist, and sometimes she works quite intensely. She's our sort of link as well. So what I'm going to do is just show you what we've got. So I don't know how many of you are aware of the local offer, which is there's some useful transition videos on there that have been held. Some of you may have been to transition events that we've held at Shrewsbury Town Football Club. Not for a couple of years since the pandemic, but we have had them, and there are some videos. Yes, they're 2 years out of date now, but they are good. They will be changing hopefully in the coming year, but there are some things there about welcome to adult social care. Obviously special educational needs, Sarah Sweeney's there. Green Acres Farm, one of our sort of vocational day services, adult day services, I'd say. Wayfarers, which is very much in the community in Market Drayton. Supported living, there's just a very brief video of some young people who live together. And there's the Mental Capacity Act, which is, I'm going to focus a little bit on that today. There's also about finance, which is the bit I don't like talking about, but there's a video on that. And Enable, which is supported employment. So all of those videos are only a few minutes long each. And there's a link there at the bottom of the screen to, how you get them. I'm just going to, what we're going to focus on a little bit today is the Mental Capacity Act and working together. So I'm going to show you a video, and then we're going to talk through a little bit of a case study to make it sort of real. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close that, and I'm just going to see if any of my colleagues are going to come on and show their faces. Hold on, let's get back to this video. Okay, so who have we got? We've got Anne. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Anne.
Just doing my hair then, Tracy, making sure my fringe was all right. Oh, hello. My name's Anne Hampson. Hi. I'm a practitioner with the Preparing for Adulthood team in the south of the county. I work quite closely with Joe Gerard. And yeah, do you want me to say anything about anything, Tracy, or just introductions?
I'll do. That's great. That's okay. Great, Anne. And Anne's background as well is she is a nurse as well. So as well as a great social care practitioner, social worker, she's also got the nursing background too. So lots of strings to her bow there. Have we got Sam? Are you?
I'll try my camera, so bear with me.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam.
Is it on? Can you see me?
Yes, you're there. Yeah, looking
Hi.
lovely.
I'm Sam Wilkinson, social care practitioner from Central Shrewsbury. So I work alongside Tracy. That's it really. I'm going to turn my camera off now if that's okay, because our signal's not great.
Yeah, and we've got Juliet.
Hi, sorry, I'm having the same problems as Sam. I'm Juliet, I'm from the Northwest and I'm a social care practitioner in the Preparing for Adulthood team, and I work alongside Helen Ewins.
Yeah, and Juliet, I'll tell you something about Juliet. She came up with these great ideas when we first had lockdown, and some of the young people that she works with, she set them little challenges to do each week. Juliet, have you got an example of one of those challenges you set?
Yeah, one of the gentlemen that's on my caseload, he was really isolated. He was a day service that he really enjoyed, and obviously that closed, so he had no structure to his day at all. So we set up a little timetable with him, and he tried bacon for the first time. He made an omelette that he was extremely proud of. Yeah, and he made some muffins, and he went for a little walk every day. So it was just incorporating a little bit of routine back into his day.
Yeah, that was great. It was really inspiring, and we meet together sort of, you know, weekly or, you know, fortnightly, and we share sort of these ideas with each other. Sam is the one who's attention to detail, who always keeps us on track and getting things done in time, because some of us are very last minute and Sam is very organised. So we've all got different sort of strengths within the team. But I just wanted to focus on one area today, the Mental Capacity Act, because it's one of those areas where sometimes parents of their young people, when they, you know, when their children are coming up, you know, 16, 17, 18, and it's all a bit scary. They're going to be an adult one day. And we do appreciate that, you know, when you're 17 and 364 days, you don't suddenly become another person the next day that you turn 18. And I guess it's just, there is the Mental Capacity Act, which is a sort of legal act that is relevant from the age of 16. And I guess it's just sharing with you a bit more about that. Some of you may have seen this before, but it's also just reassuring parents that you're still, I guess, the people who know your son or daughter or the person you care for the most, and that you are still involved in decision making, that we do rely on you, that we do work together, but we have to work within a legal framework as well. And it's just to share that with you. I'm going to put that on, and then I'll introduce you to some other people after that. All right, so I'm just going to find the link and then I will start playing it for you. So bear with me. I'm not fantastic at this. Actually, what I'll do is, Charlotte, if you can introduce yourself while I find the link to the video, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Charlotte. I'm also on the Preparing for Adulthood team. Yeah, and I'm from the Northeast, so I cover sort of Market Drayton, Whitchurch, War, that sort of area. We all work really closely together to obviously draw on everybody's expertise. And as Tracy has said, we work within the legal framework, but also we're human as well. Sometimes I think we can get lost in the legal jargon, and we know how hard it is for you as parents and for the young people within those transitions. And we are person-centered. We do say, right, have you thought about this? This might be really good. Have you thought about that? Or do you think we could develop skills by using this tool or this day service or this provider? So it is, yeah, it is all person-centered. Don't really know what else to say. Tracy, you put me on the spot then.
I know. So we've all been on there. We've all been on there. So I'm just getting up. I had the video ready and I'm just finding the right one, and then I'll put it on. That was the wrong one. what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen first.
See,
and
I
then
told you we're all human.
not great at this. Sorry. All right, I'm sharing my screen again. Da-da-da. Hopefully it is, and then I'll find one, and it's this one. Can you guys see my screen?
No, not yet.
No.
Can you all see my screen?
No, not yet, Tracy.
No.
Right. Right. Sorry about this. Window. Uh, screen. You see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me enlarge it and let's turn. This is Mary Johnson, who's from our joint training. And here we go. Should be playing.
Can't hear it, Tracy.
What was that? Sorry?
Can't hear it.
You can't hear it.
No, I can't.
Can anybody else hear it?
No, I can't. I have already seen it though myself, but that doesn't help anybody else.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's just, oh, I don't know how to do that. Then let me have a look if there's another way that we can get this on. So someone from a school that can help with
Sharon?
how we get that on. I'm awfully sorry, guys. Otherwise, we might have to just put it on quiet and talk over it. We'll just have to wing it. The team will just have to wing this, won't we? Yeah? All right. So we'll do that.
Hi, sorry, it's Emma from Sevendale again. When you did your screen sharing, did it give the option to share like a window or the whole screen?
Yes.
Because you can probably share that YouTube window.
So the window, I think I shared the screen rather than the window.
Yeah.
I think, right. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Right. Let's try it again. Can you see the screen now?
You can see YouTube, yeah.
Okay. That's not the right one. Let's have a look. Right one. Not coming. Oh, sorry about this. Right. Okay. Get this back again. That's the right one.
There's no sound on that.
Is that working now?
It's playing, but there's no sound.
No.
Right. Okay. I think we're just going to have to do this a different way, aren't we? My apologies. There will be the link at the end of this so that you can see where it is. I will stop that. So
we can watch ourselves later. Okay.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
the Mental Capacity Act is something that's in place to protect all of us. Okay, it's to guide all of us as adults. So what it means is any of us on the call, when we get to be 80, 90, whatever, we may have dementia and we may end up, you know, being decisions being made about whether we go to a care home or our treatment, or if we've had a car accident and we can't make a decision for ourselves. It just means that actually for any decision in any adult's life, we assume that they can make it themselves, that they can make an informed decision. So when you think about, you know, when you see a doctor's and there's medical treatment that you can be given, okay, these are your options, and if you're capable of thinking them through, weighing up the options, then you can make that decision. Sometimes there's situations where we need more help, you know, more information. We need it being put in a simpler way. So when I think about a lot of young people who go to Sevendale School who may have an element of a learning disability, it may be that we need to spend more time with that person, explaining the choices, explaining the implications of those choices. Yeah. And when you think about it, most things in our lives, there's a lot of things that children at Sevendales, you know, even from a young age, we can make decisions for ourselves. So we know what things we like to eat, we know what things we don't like to eat or drink. There are simple decisions that we make every day. Everybody makes decisions, whatever their level of understanding. They make decisions about who they like to be with. So we can see that sometimes by people's behaviour, and we can see that by, you know, who they say they like as well. Sometimes behaviour indicates choices as well. And I guess it's when you think about the milestones that we have, you know, that children have when they're 13, 14, often they're choosing subjects they do at school and A levels and things like that. So when we've got young people coming through to the Preparing for Adulthood team, they're often 16, 17, 18. They are at the age where in mainstream schools, people would be making decisions for themselves. They're often young people are going to, you know, respite care, or they might be having some, you know, some support, some other support in the home. And it's just, you know, do they understand that, why that's happening? We've had a bit of a pilot project going on at Bradbury House, which is our children's respite service, with some young people there who are 17, just looking at, do they understand that they're coming here to stay, not to live, and that they will be going home? Do they understand what activities are on here, and do they understand how they're going to be supported, that there are you know, members of staff here who will support them? And that's a sort of basic level of, you know, do they understand that, and finding ways of asking people that. So we do assume, and I know sometimes, you know, we work, the other people in the Preparing for Adult team and I work with a lot of people who have very little communication at all, and it's just working out, okay, if because of their, you know, mental impairment, because they would really struggle even when we've given them, you know, lots of support to make decisions about things, and it may be when they're thinking about finishing school, going to colleges, maybe going to Durham College or Condover College, it's having the young people part of that decision in terms of visiting these places or however that takes place. It may be that in the end, some young people we work with for some decisions, and often the big decisions, they can't make them on their own, or they can't communicate them. Yeah. And then we look at, sometimes we might do something that's called a best interest decision, where we look at, well, okay, what do we know about this person? What were they like when they visited this place? Were they okay? You know, what part can they be in the decision? And looking at the home situation, well, mum and dad are really tired and they need a break. You know, the person wants to stay at home. In order for that, you know, the person loves living at home with mum and dad. In order for them to stay at home, mum and dad need a break. This looks like a good way of them having a break, with the young person maybe having some respite. In the end, this is in their best interest. This is the safe place for them. They'll be well cared for, and they'll be able to continue living with the family. Do you know what I mean? So it's that sort of thing. So,
and of course we would be looking at how we can involve them, you know,
yeah.
what are their wishes and feelings, what do they want? It might be that, do you know what, they really want their train bedding to go with them, and that's something that they can, you know, be a part of that decision making, but on, I don't want to say a level because that sounds really negative, but it's all about that inclusion, but obviously working in their best interest. So it might be, you know, bed, and it might be that they really like doing, I don't know, going for a walk after tea, and it's all those things that we'd be working with yourselves and the young person and school education to make sure that we've got all that information, so we're not setting them up to fail. Sorry, Tracy, I butted in.
No, that's great. It's great. It's great. And sometimes we do have situations where you know, young people want to do something or they don't want to do something, and it doesn't, you know, doesn't tally with what the parents and you know, saying. And we do, you know, we do need to tread really carefully there. And we sometimes doesn't happen all that often, but sometimes we need to get an independent advocate sometimes, you know, where we realise, well, we work for the council, where, you know, we're not entirely neutral. We do try to be, but sometimes we just need, you know, someone else there, you know, helping. And it also might be helping that person, you know, it just, I think it sometimes validates, because sometimes they do say, yeah, actually, I, you know, mum and dad are right, you know, I want to do that. So it's it is good. Some of the things that we come across just more on a day-to-day basis, sometimes we have young people who've had just a few hours support a week. They might not have gone for respite, as in staying over somewhere. They have a few nights support a week, a few hours support a week by, you know, a family friend who's employed as a personal assistant to take them out. You know, it gives the family a bit of a break, and it gives that young person an opportunity to go out with someone else, go and do something else, go and ride a bus, go into a shop, you know, go and experience paying for, you know, a drink or an ice cream or something. And in children's services where that's been in place, we often work with the children's social worker to make sure, well, if that's really important, and that's really important for the young person and the family to keep things going, we will often continue that into adult services as well. It does go through a different process. There are different funding, there are different pots of money, but we try and make it as seamless as we can, you know.
Yeah, we jump through those hoops, not you guys.
Yeah, yeah. So and we do what's new in the preparing for adult services as well, as we have a direct payment support team now as well. So they are social workers that have been doing the work that we've been doing on the ground as well, with families, with young people, but they also can help support people with direct payments as well, and managing those, because it is often parents who do that. So, you know, one of the times where it comes up is with money, with capacity around that. And, you know, I think I personally tread carefully with capacity assessments, mental capacity assessments, about whether someone can manage their own money, especially when they come up to 18 and they have little experience of managing their own money. I think about my own children at that age, and they wouldn't be able to manage money and, you know, paying bills and dealing with letters about bills and things like that. They wouldn't be able to deal with that either at that age. So when we look at assessing someone's capacity, say with finances, we have to look at, well, what would we expect someone of that age and experience to know anyway? Because they may not be able to manage their finances more because of their age and experience rather than their learning disability, for instance. Yeah. So we look at, well, what can we do to educate that person in a way that they understand? Yeah. And that's where I think a lot of sixth form at schools and colleges in special educational needs area is about life skills, is about functional maths and functional English. So those sort of things that people learn. Does that make sense? People. Yeah. I've got yeah. Are there any questions at this point in time that anyone wants to write or say?
No, I don't think so.
Is this what you expected today?
Yeah.
I've got one of my colleagues, Sharon. Sharon's here. Sharon, can you introduce yourself, and then I'll talk about your case study. That's all right.
Yeah, sorry. I'm Sharon. Work for the North East team, adult social care, and part of the Preparing for Adulthood team. But at the moment, I'm on a placement with the Disabled Children's team, so it's relevant both ways, really.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to Sharon's a bit of a whiz on capacity assessments, and we're also looking forward to when she does come back to our team, what we learn from, you know, her experience in children's services and how we can make that transition much better for the young people, for the families, and for us as workers as well. So I'm going to read you out Sharon's case study, and I'm going to call this person Cyril just because I like the name. It makes me smile. So I hope that's okay with everybody.
Yeah.
So Cyril has a diagnosis of autism and learning difficulty. He lives at home with his parents and attends Sevendale. So this might be a few years old, this. This English is not the family's first language, okay, it's their second language. A referral was made to the Preparing for Adulthood team about a year ago when Cyril was 17 years old and Sharon was the allocated worker. As we were just saying, Cyril had direct payments for 5 hours a week in place through Children's Services. The account was managed by Mum and is used to fund a personal assistant who is also a teaching assistant at school, so somebody that Cyril knew. This was for to support Cyril to go to social clubs after school each week. And they would usually go for something to eat and then attend the youth club. So it sounds really, really good, actually. I quite like that. So probably a few months after the initial visit with parents, we needed to use an online translation service. So they managed with the personal assistant, and the young person managed to translate for the parents. So every effort, I think there needed to be a lot of effort for the parents to be involved in this process. And Sharon made sure that the request for the funding continued for the personal assistant once Cyril turned 18, as we were saying before. Mum is better with written information, so Sharon made sure that she sent all the updates via emails, and also some information about a new day service called Aspirations, which was opening on Saturdays and did in fact open on Saturdays in January. Mum agreed to be the nominated person to manage the direct payments, and then we did that. So let me continue on. So Sharon was involved in education healthcare plan reviews throughout this time as well. So there was a lot of working I think this young person was considered for futures and then had been working hard to achieve that, and then this young person desperately wanted to go there. But a decision was made at the Education and Healthcare Plan Review that wouldn't happen. However, Paula Sweeney and in the Disabled Children's team and Sharon Johnson appealed that decision. And the young person ended up at Futures, which is part of Shrewsbury College's, on the site of Shrewsbury College, SCAT. So that's an unusual situation where the social workers have advocated for education to reverse their decision, or Sevendale. So Sharon was involved in some capacity assessments around whether the young person understood the support plan that was in place for them, and found that Cyril didn't quite understand the reasons for the support that he had and what were the risks if he didn't have that support. There was also one that Sharon did around could he manage his finances, and was found that due to his difficulties that he couldn't So there were best interest decisions, which just really formalised that, you know, the support could be in place that was in place. And he ended up going to Aspirations. And he goes there on Saturdays and continues to do that. And the support by the personal assistant continues. So in the future, the parents are looking at, in the process of applying for legal deputyship in terms of finances. So that's just, some people manage with just being appointee for benefits, and some people choose the other option of having a little bit more control over deputyship. And I would advise anybody to, you know, talk with Citizens Advice Bureau, or talk to someone independently about that, or even if a young person has autism, the Autism Hub, because I as a social care practitioner or social worker, I wouldn't give legal advice, but we do, you know, support with the relevant capacity assessments. So was there any, just going to put the next screen up, which is, any questions?
No.
It's a lot of information. I hope it makes sense. It's not quite gone to plan, but
Yeah, no. Well, personally, myself, I've already had a look online. I've seen a lot of the videos, so this is just backing up almost a lot of what I've already read and seen, so it's helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we have done a little bit of a focus on the Mental Capacity Act, and I think the reason, I know personally I chose that, the reason I chose that is because I want parents to know that we work together, you know, that it's not a blockage, it's something that we work together. We just have a different legal framework that we have to follow. You know, there are situations where we need to do a formal capacity assessment and a best interest decision, so it's agreed. And it's and it involve people as much as possible. So we do try in adult social care, and all the sixth form teachers at Sevendale, and our colleagues in education, and our colleagues in health at the complex care team, the clinical commissioning group, and lots of the people that we work with, we do share with them the information that we share with parents, which is the links to the videos, which and information, lists of information about social care options for when young people leave school, for when you're considering whether you're looking at education options post-19 or social care options, or a mixture, because often it's a mixture. You know, we've got people
I didn't know there was a mixture. That's interesting.
Yeah, well we've got Cyril, who's not Cyril, but we've got Cyril who's at Futures Monday to Friday, and on Saturday goes to Aspirations, which is a new day service. Which is open 4 days a week, including Saturday, and hopes to be open in the evenings. So it's open during lockdown, so it's opened but in a very COVID secure way, and they want to be open 7 days a week and evenings to be offering flexible support and youth groups and discos and Sunday lunch clubs and all kinds of things. So there are more videos to come. Day services, adult day services are being transformed. They are trying to maximize outdoor space a lot more, because what we found is we need to socially distance. We might need to do that for a long time coming. So they're getting shelters for outside. They're getting more sensory gardens. There's day services, Aquamira is one where they're making links with the local community, looking at having their own allotments, and then looking at, so the people that have allotments there, getting to know them, saying, oh, we're from, you know, Aquamira or a day service, we're going to bring some of our guys down here to do some work on the allotment, and you know, so that they're not shut away in a building away from everybody, but involved in the community, involved in local festivals and events and things as well. So we are looking at the transformation that's happening in adult day services is also about what can our young and older people with disabilities who may need to be in a safe environment, what can they contribute to the community as well. So that's where we're going there.
Brilliant, very good.
Sorry? Well,
I said very good. That sounds interesting.
yeah.
And I
So
think equally, if you feel that there is a gap, you know, you feel that actually none of these services are quite right. I'm not saying that we can magic that up overnight, but we're definitely willing to hear and see, do you know what? Actually, we've got several young people that would benefit from your idea. So actually, yeah, we're going to pitch this and we're going to try and make this happen. We're all for new creative ideas about how we support our young people, because we want to get it right. We're all passionate, we're all invested in you and your young people. And yeah, and you know, if you think, do you know what, I don't think any of these services are quite right, but I do think a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and a little bit of that, and we'll, you know, we're really open to listening to.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tracy, I butted in again.
No, that's great. And I think
that's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where Aspirations was born. They were Silver Bell Care. They're a domiciliary care provider, and they do support some people to live independently 24/7. And they did ask us, we're thinking of opening this at this place. What do you think? You know, what do you need, basically? Yeah. And even since they've opened, they've redecorated. They've set aside a gaming area because they found quite a lot of young people wanted a gaming area there with, you know, bean bags and big screens and things like that. So they will be ever changing with the people that come through.
Yeah,
it's all exciting.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll look into that.
Yeah, and one of the other things we do sometimes is to send out sort of sample timetables, because I know one of the things when you're looking at young people leaving school, it's just like, you know, you've relied on the structure all those years. You've known what's happening with your young person for the last, you know, I don't know, 15, 16 years while they've been at Sevendale School. It's like, what happens after that? And we work with people, whether they've got an education, a social care, or a mixed program. We look at, let's make sure they've got some structure, they know what they're doing, they've got a timetable, they've got a visual timetable, or they've got a next, you know, planner with them, that they, you know, communication is really important, really important.
I think they're a really good idea. I did see a sample of those, and the differences between perhaps one that may want to be a little bit more leisurely, like shopping or the cinema or bowling, and another one that may perhaps be more sporty, like swimming or a leisure centre. I like the differences, yeah, depending on the different, you know, activities they like to do.
And at the core of that as well is often some sort of values around, well, how does this person, you know, there's always the things that the person, you know, likes to do and is important for that person, you know, but there's also, what are those other things, like, you know, there's things like, well, making sure they're healthy, you know, that are really important as well. And that's about, being fit, being healthy, encouraging activity, encouraging just, you know, the things that are good for people, not just the things that everyone likes to do, you know.
Yeah,
you know,
walking.
Yeah. I think of one young person I work with, loves playing football, but, you know, won't go walking anywhere, but will walk to a park to play football. So it's about making it worthwhile, making it a life worth living, you know.
Yeah.
So we've gone off to all places today.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah. Has anyone else got anything to add or any questions? Well, I'm going to leave, and we'll stop. And Emma, thank you for your advice in the background there, Emma. My poor computer skills. And there will be the links. I mean, this is recorded, and I think the links are on this anyway. They were in the PowerPoint presentation. The last thing I need to say is, if there's any further information that you need, thanks for joining. The recording will be available on Sevendale School's website or their YouTube channel. I'd love to know about the YouTube channel, Emma. as my colleagues. And if there's any information that's required from Sevendale School, apparently it's Maria Whitaker who's the person to contact at Sevendale School. And obviously, you know, talk to your teachers, or, you know, we're here in adult social care. Our number is 255 700. In Shrewsbury, it gets through. We've all got link phones, and we, you know, we're all we'll have those at home. I mean, Charlotte's someone I've never met in person. Juliet, I've never met in person either. So we are working virtually, but we all got our lateral flow test. We've all been vaccinated now, and we're all raring to go in as safe a way as we can.
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. So we will sign off.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.
Bye.